I can't believe more people aren't talking about the ERC tax credit that's available to business owners who have W-2 employees on the books. We're talking the potential of getting $33,000 per employee back in a tax credit that goes directly towards your business. So today I'm going to share with you exactly how you can calculate how much your potential business might get back for the ERC tax credit and how to go about applying for it and processing it so that in a few days you know that money will be on its way. So you're not going to want to miss this. So you heard right. The ERC tax credit is something that business owners can apply for, and of course the IRS is backed up and it might take a few weeks, maybe even a few months, but then this money, potentially tens of thousands of dollars, comes right back to you. Now let me stop you right there if you're starting to tune out because I'm saying things like taxes and business and IRS. Because back in March of 2020, there was tons of stimulus talk, unemployment, PPP, EIDL. But what many business owners didn't learn about is the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit. This is not a loan. It's not for just essential businesses or businesses in a certain zip code. In fact, any business who has W-2 employees can apply for this and get the credit. So I'm going to leave a link down below in the description to these qualifying questions that I'm about to walk you through step by step. You can see exactly how much you potentially qualify for, and if you are in the running for one of these tax credits, then the good folks at the ERC specialists are going to take care of the rest. So before we dive in, if you haven't already, smash that like button for me, and of course, if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. All right, this is what the homepage looks like for these qualifying questions. Now, if you are a business that has W-2 employees, you know that you run payroll. And unfortunately, your accountants are busy doing your end of the year taxes. The payroll companies are busy paying out payroll and benefits. And unfortunately, many people aren't being told about this tax credit. So go ahead and click yes right here for yes, you do have W-2 wages in 2020 or 2021. And up next, they're just going to ask you when you started your business. This is available to pretty much all businesses who were up and running at some time during the pandemic. So if it was before February 15th, go ahead and select that box. If it was after, select that. Now, as you can see here at the top, it's going to ask you something. This is one of like the easiest qualifying questions I can think of. Did you experience a COVID-19 event that negatively affected your business operations in 2020? Pretty much every single business was at least partially or fully shut down at some point. Of course, all this language is kind of new for us though, so let's take a look at what they define as a COVID-19 event. Specifically, what they're talking about is that your trade, your business was partially or fully shut down because of government restrictions or government mandates. And right here, take a look at this. It says the employer could still continue, but not all of its typical operations. So I'm thinking back right now, my restaurants, hairstylists, daycares, you name it. Everybody was impacted in some way or another. In fact, let's run through just a couple of examples. Number one, the business delayed production timelines was caused by the supply chain disruptions. I know that right now, as of this recording, there's something like over 80 tanker ships out on the West Coast just waiting to unload. There's just simply not enough time to process each of those container ships. And typically, if there was a backlog of like 10 ships, that would be a lot. And now there's over 80. So yeah, the supply chain got disrupted in 2020. Another example here, they say that the business needs to meet with clients in person, and they just weren't able to do so. They had to cancel meetings. Think of my tax accountants out there, people who do that seasonal work. You're used to these face-to-face meetings being booked with your busy season, and you were forced to have people maybe drop off paperwork or maybe try to meet with them via Zoom, Google Meets, Teams, you name it. If this was you, then you were impacted. A couple other examples, they have a business had to reduce their operating hours Maybe you were a restaurant and you had like limited dining, like you had to use every other table. Doesn't matter if your takeout was through the roof, okay? They're just asking if you were impacted by the government mandates and restrictions. And one of the last examples here basically says, if you had an event that got canceled, I mean, how many weddings, how many anniversary parties, even sporting events got canceled. This is going to impact so many different businesses. Okay, so they're going to ask you down here which quarters. I'm just going to select the box, all quarters, quarters 2 through 4 for 2020. Up next, you're going to get a same exact questions, but now they're asking about 2021. Feel free to go ahead and check the box for all quarters for 2021. And of course, if that doesn't apply, like if one quarter, you weren't impacted, just be honest. Now they're going to start to go through, because 2020 is kind of like a separate deal. They're going to look at that separately. They're going to start to go through 2021 quarter by quarter, like revenue qualifications. Now, just to be clear, if your gross revenue, like all the money you brought in was down in 2020 or 2021 compared to 2019, then you're going to meet like the qualifications for this tax credit very, very easily. But a lot of businesses out there are a little misinformed. They're like, hey, I didn't have any like down quarters. Well, that's where that other qualifier comes in. So let's just take a look at these questions. First one asks, hey, in Q1 2020, was your gross revenue down 20% or more? I'm going to select no for the sake of this application so all of us can see that even if we select no, we still might qualify for some money. They're going to go ahead and say, well, hey, listen, there's an alternative quarter qualifier. What if Q4 of 2020 was lower than Q4 of 2019? There's rules and little check boxes, so pull out those payroll reports and just check it off. But you know what? For the sake of this, I'm going to say no. Moving forward, they're going to ask about Q2, same question. I'm going to say no. Q3, and just so you realize, we are currently in Q4 of 2021. So eventually, this will apply to that quarter. There is some legislation sort of floating around that is saying like maybe this won't count towards Q4, but let's not worry about that right now because those reports won't even be posted till after the first of the year. Up next, they're going to ask how many full-time W-2 employees did you have on payroll? Now, this is okay if it's an average number, but just be aware that the IRS counts full-time employees as 30 hours or more. So for the sake of this, you're going to see some numbers later. I'm just going to put 10, nice round number, 10 on average. Maybe you have like a busy season where you have more. Maybe you cut it down. You know what I'm saying? Like an average of 10. Now, real quick, please understand that they are not talking about 1099 employees or people you pay under the table. They are not talking about immediate family, like your wife, your kids, a relative. This is just W-2 full-time employees that aren't related to you and don't own the business. Going to ask the same question for 2020. Maybe the numbers changed a little bit. That's okay. Let's go ahead and give them that number. I'm going to put 10 here. Now, as you can see, please remember, I put no for the revenue reduction questions every single time. And I got great news. Based on your answers, you do qualify for the ERC program, the Employee Retention Tax. This tax credit is refundable, and if you had that reduction, of course you're going to qualify. It does depend on quarter, but if you were impacted by COVID-19, folks, you're going to probably qualify for some money too. So we need to fill out this basic information, and let me say right now, they are not going to ask for a copy of your taxes. They are not going to ask for your social security number. Simply put, and we're going to fill in this information together, you're going to need your personal contact information, the name of your business and like your business address, and then they are going to ask for some payroll reports. That's it. And real quick, they do want you to add this specific email address, so when they send you some reminders and when they send you like some follow-up questions, it doesn't go to spam. All right, here we go. We got your first and last name, your phone number and email address. They do ask for the name of the referrer. If it's me, feel free to put Rich Smith. That's kind of win-win for both of us because they're going to give me credit for sending them your way. But again, I'll kind of talk about this now. There's no upfront cost to you. If you decide to prepay, then the fees that the ERC specialists take are even less, but you can pay out of the money that you get, and it's kind of win-win for all of us. So Moving on, they want to know your job title. If you're owner, you can put owner. If you're a member, like a member of the LLC, you can put member. If you're a partner, partner. Also, they want to know the name of your company, the actual name of the company you have filed with your state. And they want to know the company, the business address, the city, state, zip code. And then they ask what industry you're in. Feel free to just put that general industry or a specific business. I mean, nobody knows your business better than you. Now check this out, okay? This is an estimate. Remember, I put 10 employees on average. They're saying for 2020, the credit estimate is $40,000, okay? That's about $4,000 per employee just for 2020. And for 2021, and this is an estimate, okay? This is not even the exact number yet. It could potentially be higher. Of course, it could be lower, but we're talking $38,500 per quarter. Over $100,000. Again, this is for 10 employees, and this is based off of the first 3 quarters. So when we factor in 2020, 2021, when we work all 4 quarters, we're looking on average for most businesses of a tax credit, a check back to you for over $150,000. Now, up next, they are going to need just some redundancy type information. I put in test here because I'm just showing you this as like a test run through the application and qualifying questions. But put the name of your company. Then up next, they need that detailed payroll report. Now, depending on who you use for payroll, if it's somebody local, just ask them for a payroll report, a detailed payroll report. Specifically, you need one from March 13th, 2020, through, at least right now, September 30th, 2021. Now, I use Gusto. I love Gusto for payroll. They issue me my W-2. And if you go through a company like Gusto, they might call this like a payroll journal, a payroll report. It might be called a payroll export, something that you can export to Excel and send off. Whatever they call it, whether you use ADP, Paychex, or any of a number of the other companies, you simply want a detailed report that includes all the wages and anything else that was paid out, including healthcare and everything else. They're also going to ask for who you use for your payroll provider. And then, of course, there's some common questions, and let's just run through them real quick. You know, what constitutes as payment? Anything you pay out to an employee is payment. It could be tips, it could be wages, salary, other forms of compensation, stipends, allowances, that all counts. You got to add all that up. They're also going to ask about all the deductions. Any deductions that you took should be on that detailed payroll report. And that's just, they need to know those amounts so that things like insurance, dental insurance, you know, life insurance, child support deductions, anything that got taken out, they need to know. Some people go, hey, listen, like, this is confusing. Can I just give you access to my payroll provider? And the answer is yes. If you have online access, for me, for Gusto, I can go in and I can give limited admin access. I can give partial admin access or just plain admin access. And they won't be able to like delete anything or change things around, but they can go in and get the reports they need. So if that's easier for you, then, you know, just kind of email them and let them know that, yes, you want to give them access. And then go ahead and upload that payroll report. Typically what I'm finding with people that I'm helping with, this is like the last hurdle. So please don't drag your feet with this. Like if it's Monday, Tuesday, let's get this done before Friday. Okay, get the report, PDF form, upload it, and hit submit, because these ERC specialists, they work fast. We're talking, you know, a few days, maybe a week, and once everything's, you know, looking good and you give them the thumbs up, they're going to send it off to the IRS. Last couple things they're going to ask for is the names of any relatives or majority owners. Again, those are excluded from the tax credit. The 941 forms, these are payroll forms that are filed with the IRS quarterly. You may not even know that they exist. For me, like I said, my payroll company files these for me. Your payroll company will have these. Typically, like there's 4 per year, and you're just going to upload them. All right. Your accountant may not know about them, so you know, don't ask the accountant, ask the payroll company. And again, it's a form 941. And last but not least, they will ask you if you got a PPP loan. You can say yes. I got PPP 1, I got PPP 2, both draws. It just depends. And the reason for that is there's no double dipping. And I guess what that means, another way of saying it, is if you qualify for this tax credit, let's just say like first quarter of 2021, great, right? You should be getting some money. But if you got PPP and you paid your employees during that quarter with it, then you're not going to qualify for this tax credit because you're using government money to pay the employees. They're not going to give you more government money back. It's just that double dipping rule. And we just got to be honest with them, so answer it accordingly. And then you're going to get an email almost immediately that looks a little something like this. It's going to include those estimates. Maybe they're on the high side, like up to, but then again, it could be even higher once you upload those detailed reports. So please, let's not drag our feet with those. Let's get that payroll report in. Let's get those 941s in and kind of be persistent, be a squeaky wheel with the payroll company if you need those, because once you upload those, I tell you, this is gonna go fast on the processing end, and then it's a waiting game with the IRS. All right, well, congratulations. If you stuck with me here, you have applied for the ERC tax credit. On average, companies with 5, 10 employees are receiving anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000 back. Simple way of looking at it is if you had one employee in 2021 that made $40,000, you can get back up to $28,000 just for 2021. And another 5 maybe for 2020. We're talking a potential $33,000 per employee. I am shocked that people aren't talking about this more, but I get it. Accountants are busy, or maybe they're not experts in this yet. Payroll companies are typically passing this off to other people because they're not interested in filing, revised tax forms. So with that being said, again, I'll leave a link down below in the description to these exact same qualifying questions. Also, I am available for one-on-one consultations if you want to talk through this. Those times are very, very limited. But I am willing to speak to you about this. We can crunch the numbers, even run through this application. So feel free to get in touch if you'd like to do that. I'll leave a link down below in the description. All right, don't forget to drop a little like down below to this video. And if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.